You know, I'm somebody who has been attacked by the Ku Klux Klan. I'm somebody who's protested them, a bunch of federal agents on average. And, you know, that was back 10, 15 years ago. I probably haven't gone out and protested the Klan in about 8 years. I don't do a lot of protests, period. I don't have time. But, you know, the Klan, maybe 100,000 people. This Metzl Raza thing is in the tens of millions. And what's happening is there's this intimidation against Hispanic Americans that they are they have a Spanish term for it. And is it a pocho, or it's in Spanish, basically a Uncle Tom. And they attack Hispanics and call them sellouts if they fly an American flag at their house or business, or if they're not a communist, or if they're pro-Second Amendment. And this was illustrated by the school kids, 5 of them being kicked out of school in San Francisco. 3 of the 5 were Hispanic, by the way, not allowed to wear American flags. It was offensive to the Mexicans who don't want to be Americans. They're Mexicans. And we're going to be discussing all of this today. And we're going to go over Robert Rodriguez's new film, Machete, that is invoking race war. This is so important. Stay with us. No more Mr. Nice Guy, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting these issues out in the open. It is a fact that the CIA, the Ford Foundation, and others for 50 years have radicalized Muslims. That was even the Washington Post, sending textbooks into Pakistan and other countries, radicalizing the Muslims, making them violent. Why? And that they've created liberation theology similar to Reverend Wright, Obama, his preacher, and all the race stuff they spew. Why is that? Why is it that Hatari militia, the federal judge has ordered their release? Because all the Hatari militia said is if the New World Order keeps coming down on us, we may have to physically fight. Meanwhile, if I tried to play for you, just go to YouTube and type in La Raza or Mecha or Azadlan, and you will see hundreds of videos of professors and the mayor of L.A. and congressmen, and we've even gotten some of them on air before, saying, yes, whites are scum, whites are racist, you don't belong in this continent, all go home, we can't wait for you to all die. I mean, this is more heated rhetoric than Ku Klux Klan, and I'm offended by all of it. But this is just a video. It's on Drudge right now. It's also up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. This just came out yesterday from rallies on Friday. And then I'm going to go over the new film coming out that we have the trailer for. And I was then separately, I didn't know what to make of this a few days ago on Cinco de Mayo when I was sent the trailer for the new Robert Rodriguez, who I've been a fan of, film Machete. I mean, the whites are racist, they're evil. It's got, you know, Mexicans running around with machetes, killing the gringo. It looked like a call for race war. Then I talked to people who called me, who, by the way, are Hispanic, who work in the film, and it's being finished right now, that are saying, we're worried this is going to hurt and cause a backlash on the Hispanic community. And that's what the globalists want. That's why they fund this, so we're all against each other instead of being for sovereignty. All of us are tribal. All of us are gang mentality. That's human. How about red, white, and blue? How about Bill of Rights, Constitution? How about that be our gang? How about we stand up for that? Why do you think everybody wants to come to America? It hadn't been perfect, but it's had freedom of speech, freedom of private property. That's why 4% of the world population had more than half the wealth. Now we've been taken over. Now we're corrupt. But the point is, why do these people say that this is Mexico and they're going to make it Mexico? Well, if Mexico's so great or Latin America's so great under those corrupt systems, never getting out from under colonial-type rule, why then do they want to come here? Why are they offended by... The media didn't report this until later. I saw the kids on San Francisco TV. 3 of the 5 that got kicked out of school for wearing American flag shirts were Hispanic. It's so offensive to a large portion of Hispanic America. The American flag is offensive. So now when I pull into a Mexican food restaurant, I see Mexican flags everywhere, or I see it on car dealerships, or I see the term La Raza or Mecha. La Raza means the race, or they got a Texas radio station called The Invasion. And again, my wife speaks Spanish. She hears it all. It just blows her away. I mean, I want to feel comfortable. I don't want to be enemies with everybody. But these groups say, hey, we want to be your enemy. So my question for Hispanic callers, and your calls are coming up, but I need to go over this first, is what are you hearing in your community? What side do you stand on? Because as long as you're an American and believe in our laws and our freedoms, then I'm all for you. But if you're scared by an American flag and hate white people, I mean, I've got to stand up for myself. Now, let's just, again, I could fill up 10 hours, no exaggeration, with exactly what you're about to hear. In fact, worse, there's a UT professor, head of Chicano Studies, up in UT Dallas, UT DFW, who says we need to use the plan of San Diego. And I didn't know what plan of San Diego was. That's a plan for Hispanics to kill all whites above the age of 16. Don't believe me? Google plan of San Diego. You'll be at the UT website. I mean, can you imagine if a white professor was teaching to kill all blacks? Remember when that black professor said kill all whites a few years ago, how big a news it was? Why isn't it news when this type of stuff's going on, or when Robert Rodriguez gets ready to put a film out like this, and he says this is a message to Arizona? That's coming up. And then your phone calls. But first, L.A. teacher calls for Mexican revolt in the United States. This is sedition. This is pure racism. I mean, if the Ku Klux Klan called for this, they'd be arrested in minutes. This is not free speech. This is a call to arms. Meanwhile, I have the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center listing me, Ron Paul, and others as if we're seditious and oath keepers. Mother Jones called oath keepers seditious. They're open to every race, color, you name it, to just follow the Bill of Rights. Again, imagine what would happen to Hatari militia if they talked like this. Here it is. This is just 2 days ago. This is just 2 days ago. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we have this video up on Infowars.com. It's got his full name. It's got all the information. Ron Gotches. He's a history teacher at Santa HS in Los Angeles. Imagine being a white kid in this guy's class. Here it is.
I want to start off by saying that the young man who spoke a little while ago was one of my students. And that made me so proud because I know that our people have strong leaders for years and years to come. As a militante of Unión del Barrio, a revolutionary Mexican organization here, we understand what the camarada is saying. You're right, this is not just about Mexico. This is about a global struggle against imperialism and capitalism. Yes. But we know that all of that is happening in the context that where we now stand is stolen, occupied Mexico. And the message that we bring is we want to bring a little bit more of a revolutionary context to this. Why is it that these people, these frail, racist, white people, want to keep us out of this country? It's not because simply the color of our skin. It's not simply because they just want to exploit us. Let me tell you why. Because on this planet right now, of 6 billion people, at the forefront of the revolutionary movement is the raza. When you go to Venezuela,
the race.
When you go, we have the long history and example of our comandante, Fidel Castro Ruz.
Fidel Castro.
We got Hugo Chavez, Evo Morales. We got Brazil, Ecuador, you name it. We have nine left of center governments in Latin America right now. And they know something that one young Argentine called Che Guevara said. It was called the domino theory. And he knew that every single country would go revolutionary, one after the other, after the other, after the other.
And what's their plank? Get our guns. You're not getting my guns, buddy. Sorry.
So what do they fear? They know that every single country, they know that we no longer will fall to these lies called borders. We know
that
Salvadoran.
We're going to go to break. When we come back, I'm going to play the rest of this. This is unedited. And literally, when I was watching this video on YouTube, there were scores of new ones all saying the same thing. and calling for killing all whites as well. I mean, this is incredible. We'll be back.